Hello, 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 True Living. How is everybody doing this beautiful Monday? Anthony, what's going on, brother? Oh, he's cutting in and out.
What's up, my brother? Can you hear me good?
I can, but it sounds like we've got our typical screwed up internet.
Gotta love the internet. Gotta love the internet.
Yeah.
I'm excited. We'd have a rock star on tonight, baby.
Yeah, yes, we do. Simone's absolutely amazing. She is one of our speakers at the upcoming Success Summit. If you haven't heard about it, we're going to chat a little bit more about it this evening. Anthony, where do we begin when it comes to introducing Simone?
Simone is, I don't know where to begin. Simone's amazing, right? So I met Simone, my wife and I, at a Starbucks. They met first, right? And they would call each other Roomie. And she would also call my wife Red Shoes because my wife wears red shoes all the time, you know? And so they just became like besties at Starbucks. I found out she was an author. I went in there and totally disrupted the whole deal, right? I was like, "You're an author? We got talking, Rick Frischman, Gary Krebs, blah, 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 blah," right? And so, connection and dream making and, hooked her up with a free ticket to Author 101. She's my girl, so we got her in. And, she's fantastic. I mean, she has accomplished so much. She has 2 books out, and she has done phenomenal with some of the big top 5 publishers in the world that people dream to be in. She's working on some cool projects in the film world. I'll let her share a little bit more about that. But she's amazing, right? You can't say enough about Simone. And she's down to earth. She's a homegirl. We love her with all our heart. We laugh all the time when we're together. She yells at me all the time for being late. It's, guilty as charged. But I love Simone. I cannot wait for her to come out. She's amazing.
Simone's one of a list of many, many, many people that yell at Anthony for being late. Anthony's like, guilty as charged. Now, one of the things that I had a chance to meet Simone here in the back room, and one of the things that I absolutely love about her, and we spoke a little bit about, is just tapping into intuition. So I asked her tonight, Anthony, to share a little bit about tapping into intuition. So you guys that are out there, you're making business decisions all the time. You're making decisions about your life, about your family, about, your health. This is going to be a very valuable conversation. Simone's a master at this. She teaches many, many, many people. And you're going to be able to gain that next level access into your own intuition decision-making. And we're going to pick her brain as to what really works. So without further ado, I want to welcome Simone. Simone, welcome to the True Living Show.
Thank you.
Hey,
what
girl.
a fabulous introduction. You made me sound so amazing. I love it.
You can pay me later. No, I didn't say enough about you.
Well, I'm going to drop you in the main queue there, Simone. So Simone, can you, I'm sure everyone would love to know, tell us a little bit about yourself. When did your journey with intuition start? What had you become an author? Please share.
That's a lot to talk about, but I'll try to break it up and give you time to, breathe and jump in. All right. So what were you going to say, Tony? I already see.
I was breathing. I was like,
yeah,
right. If I start talking, it's going to go the whole time.
Cute. Jump in.
All right. Well, thanks again for having me. I'm happy to be here. And Tony's been trying to get me on the show forever. So thank you for having me. So first and foremost, I'm from the Bronx by way of Jamaican parents. I lived in South Florida for 15 years and I just moved to Atlanta back in February. And one of the things that I have been all of my life is very intuitive. As a kid, I used to see things and I used to think I was making it up or I was dreaming. I didn't really understand what I was seeing. Fast forward years later, during my teens and what have you, I started to have, really prophetic dreams, or I would feel things in my body, which a lot of us feel, but we don't really understand what it means. Like your stomach might churn or your throat might tighten. So things would happen to me and then I would follow my intuition and then it would be like something that saves me technically. I'll give you a quick story to give you an example of when I really woke up to it is me and my friends were going to go to this celebrity basketball game and we were about 17. And everybody was talking about, we gotta go. This is like when Puffy first came out, Mary J. Blige, Jodeci. So this is like the early 90s and everybody was going to be there. And we were like, we got to go. And my stomach kept churning and I kept saying, I don't want to go. It's going to be too crowded. I don't want to go. I kept telling my friends, I don't want to go. And then we were like, yeah, let's just go to the movies instead. On the way home from the movies, we turn on the radio. We're in a taxi cab and we hear 9 people died at that event. There was a stampede because everybody wanted to go. It was overhyped on the radio. So people were fighting to get in and trampled each of people and 9 people died. So I remember I said to myself, Simone, anytime your stomach does that, you better listen. So that was an early sign of intuition. I get goosebumps just telling the story. Every time I talk about this, it's like, it gives me like the heebie-jeebies. But that's a sign of like listening to negative stuff. But there's also good intuition as well. So we can talk about that later. But that's the beginning of my intuition. Then fast forward into my, I guess, late 20s, early 30s is when I started taking classes because my dreams were so prophetic. It was really too much. I was like, how do I know this stuff? So I started taking classes and really, really developed up to the next level, and then started practicing on my girlfriends, and then they became addicted, and I started charging. Because originally I was a business coach. You know, my background is business and marketing, and I went to school for marketing. I went to Long Island University, CW Post campus, and I majored in business. And you know, I worked in the music industry for many years. I worked for HBO. I worked for a lot of entertainment companies, .coms companies, and so my background was mainly like the business person. So telling people I knew how to do, you know, the stuff that I know how to do, it was a real big secret. I didn't really tell a lot of people. And then eventually I came out the closet in 2011, and I combined it with my actual company, Own Your Power, and it just went perfect with it. You know what I mean? And then so 2011, I started teaching how to develop your intuition, the courses. And I have a three level course. And that's what really to put me on the map, because once I taught people that they can do it too, they're like, what? I had this power all these years and I never took advantage of it. So that's one of my favorite things to do, is teach people how to develop it.
Beautiful.
That's a short version.
Now, what does that look like as somebody who's learning to tap into their intuition? What are some of the first steps that someone can take?
Sure. Number one, meditation. You have to learn how to meditate. You have to learn how to slow down, take deep breaths. A lot of what I do in my teachings is meditation, and basic stuff that you can do that you don't have to like really meditate deeply are little games you can play with yourself. So, for instance, before I got on the Zoom call with you guys, I could have guessed what color you were going to wear. Right? Simple as that. Before you get on the elevator, guess how many people are going to be on the elevator. Before you look at your phone, guess what time it is. Like, those are little ways to like keep your, you know, the intuition muscle strong. But however, when I teach classes, we start off with meditation. I teach them. I might have like a book, for instance. I'll have plug. We'll have a book. And nobody will see what I'm looking at. I have it like under the table, and then I'll take them through a breathing exercise. And I say, okay, everybody, write down what you see. Scan it like you have an MRI machine. What does it feel like? What are the colors? What's the energy of the book? Any letters you see? And when I tell you, almost everybody gets it right. They might not get the exact title of the book, but they'll get like the mood. They'll see brown, red. They'll pick out the colors, and it blows people's minds, because this is an exercise we could do in like 5 minutes. And people are like, how did I know that? You know, so imagine if you meditated every day, if you took that time for yourself, journaled, deep breathing, you know, go in nature, like just do things to slow down. You'd be surprised how strong your intuition would get. That's big, yeah. So there's other stuff. There's other levels to this.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. And I'm sure everybody's familiar with those times when it's like you're sitting there and you're just in your own world. And then all of a sudden you're like, you think of that person, and then your phone rings. You know,
exactly.
Just tapping into that field where, you know, we're all connected on an electrical level and an intuitional and through that space. And one of my favorite ways to think about this is through this space. You know, we're connected through space. There's more space than there is matter there, you know, and information. How does it travel through that space? And yeah.
I give the example of how we already know how to read people at the end of the day. You know, when you're at a networking event or you just meet people and, oh, I love her energy. Oh, like, or something's up with that person. And they might not have even done nothing to you, but you just don't feel right. Like something's off. Yeah. And 9 times out of 10, it's not that they're a bad person. They might just be very blocked, very guarded. So as humans, we pick up energy. So we when somebody's very closed off, we don't feel comfortable around them. So it's just like, you know, that's and we have to develop.
Exactly. And there takes a level of mastery to recognize what's your personal experience versus what are you picking up of somebody else.
That's when you're empathic, when you pick up, you know, and that can happen as simple with a phone call. Somebody could call you with, oh, girl, my boyfriend just cheated on me, blah, blah, blah. My life sucks. I just lost my job. And you hang up the phone and you feel like crap. And you don't realize they're skipping away happy because they just dumped all their troubles on you. So one of the things I'm very big on is teaching is how to protect your energy. And it's little baby exercises you can do, but that's something that we need to do on a regular basis. You know, it's something as simple as I tell little kids, pretend God put a glass cup over you. Like that's simple. Like, or force field, or like, you know, for you sci-fi fans, pretend you have a force field around you. So anything coming at you will slide down the force field and not come to you. You won't take it home with you. So that's something as little as that you can do at work, because I know a lot of people work in toxic environments. So even if it's on Zoom.
Yeah, right.
Work on protecting your energy. Yeah, it does wonders.
I love that. Pretend God put a cup over you.
That's what I tell little kids, because it's easy. You know what I mean? Like the breathing that we do is in through your nose, out through your mouth. So what do I tell little kids? Smell the cookies, fog the mirror. Kids can remember that, you know, and the grown-ups too. Cool. It helps the grown-ups to remember too, you know. So just to breathe properly to really get in the zone.
I love that.
I love that. You know, it's amazing because Simone, listening to you speak, you know, I've been healing, as you know, my brain's been healing, and it's been a process here for 3 years. And I've heard of the word empath prior. I've always been a person that felt people, always loved, truly cared about people at a deep level. I would use the term when I was little, I feel like I can absorb that person, right? So when I first got into business, Shannon Pardue is the top income earner of our company, and I love him with all my heart. He was my mentor's mentor, and he was doing really well, like 7 figures a month and so forth. And I felt like if I was around him, I could absorb him. And it was like a period of time for like, you know, a day, 2 days, where I would literally talk like Shannon. But then on the opposite end, you're around someone that's a family member that you love and you care about, but they're a little cray cray, you know. And it's like around them, like my grandmother. I love my grandma with all my heart, but sometimes you got to take people in doses, you know, because of that energy. But I never really knew much about it until healing from EMF and cell phones and Wi-Fi with the brain healing and being around people like yourself and learning that there's actually a science to it. It's actually like a thing. I just thought I was like, you know, had some kind of superpower unnamed, you know, so it's really interesting. It's so cool.
Well, people like you and me who like talking to strangers.
Yeah,
so I always tease Tony, he's always picking up strangers off the street. But you know, because you see energy, you feel the energy, and you know that's what I think is your gift. You know what I mean? And me, when I used to host networking events, I think that was my gift, where I can hone in on somebody and see who needs help and work and try to bring them together. That's a talent. You know, not everybody can do that. So embrace it.
Yeah, no, that's,
thank
that's
you.
absolutely.
I would say I would walk into a room to be like whatever. Yeah, I was just gonna say I would literally walk in a room to be like 300 people. I can feel the different people that were on cue and who was like buying into what I was sharing, like, you know, and who was like like a little bit, and I would be able to address them. And then at the end I'd be able to circle back, and it was just weird. It was just a weird, just, you know, feeling to be able to like know what they were feeling to some degree. So it's really interesting. Really
well, the best salespeople are very intuitive. You know, at the end of the day, that's a gift. You know.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
So Simone, now give me an idea of so there you are. So you start off with meditation, right? And that's one of those key things. Then what's the next level? Once you've mastered meditation and you've mastered it, give me an idea of what that journey looks like into mastery.
The next level is reading people. So when I do the class, well, this is all in level one. Level one, discovering intuition, is first we do like images, then we do objects, and then we graduate to people. So when I teach the class, I'll have my friends or past students say, "Hey guys, you want to be a guinea pig for the class?" And basically they're home minding their own business, and we get their first name, last name, age, and city, and my students have to read their energy. They're not going to give you like a full blown, like, you know, life, you know, lessons and reading, but they will be able to say, oh, this person has brown hair, they have good energy, they're a little nervous about something new, and maybe they're getting ready to start a job. Like, they'll pick up a whole bunch of different things. And it's so cool because in a class of like 8 people, everybody will get something different, but they'll all be right. It goes to show the class helps you hone in on what your talent is. Some people are very good with colors, some people are good with feeling energy, some people see it, some people hear it, so it depends, and some people are a combination. So that's the next level. And then level 2 of my class, we do remote viewing. You know what that is?
Yeah.
Okay. So we do remote viewing. So we'll get addresses of whoever again is letting us focus on them. And we have to describe the house, what's in the house, what do we feel around the house. And that again is mind blowing, because people are like, how did I know how to do that? But like, we did one the other day, and I mean, these girls literally had the guy's house mapped, and he was just like, he almost threw the phone. How do they know how to do that? So we were talking about superhero. I call myself a superhero trainer. That's one of my hashtags, because after we're done with the class, I always say, "Welcome to the X-Men." So powerful, you know. So it's so cool to me, you know.
Love that. That's so cool.
And past lives is the last level that I teach. So you can repeat other people's past lives. That's a whole nother. That's why my book is really about that, about past lives as well. I'm very intrigued with the whole concept. So
now, what got you into past lives? Where was the bridge there?
Well, because when I started learning all of this, I learned different levels of intuition. And when I first learned past lives, I didn't believe it. I was like, "There's no way in hell I'm gonna get this right." Like, basically, they broke us up in partners with partners. So when you do it, it's like meditating, almost like you're reading a person. You connect it to a situation. So it could be like, "Oh, why am I afraid?" I'll give you an example of that really happened. A girl said, "Why am I afraid of lizards?" And so I had to meditate and see a past life. I literally saw myself as a man, an Amazon man. I remember I saw my hand, and I remember I had the hook in my nose, and I had the haircut, the whole thing. I saw myself as this man, and then I put a stick. It was like a bamboo stick or something in the water, and I got sucked in. And I remember I was like I felt like something killed me. So I said, "Oh, you're not scared of lizards. You're scared of everything," because it was a crocodile that killed you, right? So again, I'm thinking I have a good imagination. I'm just making up. Who knows? I didn't know if I believed or not. Then like an hour later, she was partnered with another girl who's way more high level than me. They come running out from the room. "Oh my gosh, she saw the same past life." And the girl didn't tell her anything. And so I started asking the lady, "Well, what did you see?" Because I didn't believe it. I was like, that girl must have told us something. She started telling me stuff that I didn't even tell the girl. That was like very detailed. And I said, "Get the hell out of here." I said, "Okay, I believe it now." So I'm talking about 14 years ago. Now, when I do it, I'm horrible in geography, horrible in history. And we find stuff, we'll Google things, now we can Google saying like certain techniques, healing techniques, or historical things that happen. And I'm like, I don't know. This is what I hear. We'll type it up and it ends up being true. Or let's say, for instance, I had a student that, a client of mine, not a student, who, when I read her past life, she was a Chinese man. And she had like a lot of troubles in her family, and it was a whole bunch of a whole soap opera. It's literally like a whole soap opera for me. I see it like a movie. I don't even need cable. And she starts crying. I'm like telling her about the Chinese man. She starts crying on the phone. I said, "What's going on?" She goes, "Simone, I'm Dominican, and everything in my house is Chinese. My furniture, my clothes. I'm obsessed with China." She never knew why she was obsessed with China, and there was a connection to that past life. So that's why I was like, you can't make this stuff up. The stuff that I've done and I find out, and it's mind-boggling. But it helps you realize we've been here before, and if you don't get it together, you're gonna come back.
Amazing.
Excellent. So Simone,
taking notes.
Yeah, Anthony's taking notes. Get it together, or I'll be back. Check. Get it together, or I'll be back.
He's gonna be late when he comes back.
I wrote down X-Men. I was like, that's so cool. That was the one thing I got from that time. No, I'm playing. No, that was good. I got a lot of notes. It's so cool.
Oh my God.
All right. So give us an idea of so you've written a book here, and it's about the whispers of the past, right? That's the name of the book.
Mm-hmm.
And give us an idea of what it looks like for you to have gone through the process of writing a book and bring it into reality from the idea to seed.
So the first thing that I do is I usually have something sparks it, there's some connection to something. This book was actually continuation of my last book, Like a Fly on the Wall. I'm holding it upside down. Okay, yeah, that would help. So and this book was the main character name was Jacques Barati, who is a sexy Moroccan and French psychic, and he ends up helping Like a Fly on the Wall detective agency in that book. And they solve a lot of mysteries, and there's a lot of family scandals and secrets and a lot of juicy sex. All that stuff is weaved into that book. However, Whispers from the Past is the sequel, but I wrote it as a standalone book. So even if you don't read Like a Fly on the Wall, you can still get it. Where Jacques is now developed a new talent. Not only is he psychic, but now he can see your past life. So he can, if he touches you or if he looks in your eyes, he'll see like a hologram of another life in front of him, and he'll get it like this. So now he's using that with his abilities, but he's also using it for solving mysteries with working with like a fly on the wall, the detector agency. So
now, is he the sexy character that you have going there?
Say that again.
Wait, hold on, Anthony. I'm getting feet. There we go. Is he the sexy character that you have going on there?
On the cover of the picture of the book?
No. I mean, it's like he's the main character. It's the main character that like they have the sexy guy.
So that's the other thing.
Through your past lives. Like, talk about creepy for me.
No, it's not creepy.
Seeing my past lives.
No, but he does it for people. Pay him to do it, so it's not like he's just walking up.
Right.
That's one of the things I tell my students, because after they leave my class, they think they're gonna give everybody readings. I was like, no, don't be going up to people telling them stuff. Oh, you're gonna have a baby next month, you know.
Stop it.
Will explode when they do the class, because they think they're, you know, Miss Cleo. No, but basically, yeah, the main character is a man. There's also his sidekick, Kylie, who was a female, obviously. So that was one of my challenges to write as a man. So a lot of men like the book because they're like, oh, this isn't like a girly book. This is like some good stuff in here. And I interviewed a few guys, and then I've worked with a lot. I work with a lot of guys, so I'm always listening. I'm like this, talking fellas. Yeah. So I'm always taking notes. So yeah, that was a fun challenge. But what I do normally when I come up with a book idea, I'll write out the synopsis, the idea of the book, and then I'll write like out the outline. So each chapter is like a little blurb, and then I start fleshing out each chapter. And then it's a long process because after you start writing, I write it the old school way. I write it in a notebook. So, you know, some people type first. I don't do that. I have to. To me, it's easier to channel. It feels like more, you know, I don't know. I just feel more passionate when I'm writing in the notebook. And then after that, I type it up, and then we start the editing process. So I edit it first a few times, and then I have a real editor. Usually, I have like my girlfriends edit it because, believe it or not, regular people sometimes catch stuff that the editors can't. I've seen that happen. It's true. Amazing.
Really true.
True. Like I had, and this is actually funny to me. I guess it's a compliment to my writing, but the sex scenes usually get no corrections. I'm nice. Like, hello, are you guys reading this? Are you in your? There'll be like typos, but they don't see the typos. They're just like, oh, this is good. You know, let's keep going.
The sex scenes just blowing through it when they're editing. There's no periods. Like the whole paragraph. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I've had some, like one of my girlfriends, I'll give her a shout out, Tisha Wilson, thank you. She's a realtor and she's caught more stuff than professional editors have caught. It's amazing.
There you go. Yeah. There you go. So you start off there, you've got a journal and notepad. What do you do to drop into that creative space?
I usually have to go somewhere else. I work from home, so back in the day, last year, back in the day before pre-COVID, I would work out of Nova University's library. They have where you can, that's in Florida. I forgot you're in Jersey. Nova University has a great library where you can actually rent a room. You don't pay. It's just like reserve a room. That was my little office. That way my phone is off. Nobody's bothering me. I can zone in and, you know, do my work. Starbucks, I would do more editing, and it's also good for people watching. Get some good content there. Yeah. Lots of good people watching in Starbucks. But yeah, those two places. But now that I work from home, I usually just write in my dining room. I, you know, light my little candle, my incense, you know, turn my phone off and get comfortable. But that's pretty much the only thing I have to do. It's not like that serious of a thing, but turning my phone off is number one because that thing don't stop ringing.
Well, it's amazing how many, you know, anytime I enter into any sort of creative process, one of the biggest things that I notice is the, you know, the dinging and the, you know, and every time you have a little whatever, it takes you out of it.
Yep. Airplane mode. That's the answer to your problems, or the off button. I know some people that have kids, they can't do that because they, you know, in case of emergencies or whatever. But yeah, I usually turn my phone on airplane mode.
I'm letting Anthony chime in.
This is the most quietest I've ever seen Anthony. I'm shocked.
I have to keep myself muted because I have to remind myself you are the guest. And you need to do the bulk of the speaking.
Well, ask questions. I can't just keep rambling by myself.
No, well, you know what it is.
No, I mean, look, you're like me. You're so conversational. If you didn't see us, if we went and like, you know, had a buffet, we'd come back. You'd still be telling your story, girl. You know, same thing as me. So, you know, I love it. And one of the things, you know, I get the phone call all the time from the people that want to write a book. or they have a book, they want it to be a bestseller, they want the book to be a movie, whatever it might look like. But most people, like, I think the accuracy stat is 97% of people want to write a book, and like less than 3% do. And then, like, if they do write a book, it's like, I think 95% of them never sell 500 copies. So if you reach that milestone, like you reached that milestone, obviously you're in the top 5% of all books written, like, ever since the history of time, right? Since they started calculating it. And it's amazing, you know. And that's why, like, I love people hearing, you know, I say this all the time, and it probably gets old, but it's so true. Like, Simon Sinek wrote the book, It Starts with Why. I always say it starts with what, it's fueled by why, but it happens with how. Quickly, the who has to bring you to the how. But you're like the how, in the sense that, like, you're doing this, right? There's a lot of people watching that want to do this, right? And even tying into the event, which we'll talk about more in a little bit, like, people want to learn how to do this stuff. Like, you're doing it. You're so much further ahead. And in addition to that, you've gotten, like, picked up by, like, top 5 publishers, right? And stuff like that. It's like amazing, Simone. It really, really is, you know. And everybody wants to be J.K. Rowling and Stephen King, you know, but at the end of the day, it's like, it's that journey, right? And you're on that journey, which is awesome, you know.
Thank you. Well, I should add that the step that because I'm talking about more present, but like when I really first got started, you said I'm the author of 2 books. It's actually 5. Let's get it right, Anthony.
Okay.
But my first self-pub, well, it's 2 with a major publisher. You're correct that way.
Gotcha.
My first book I self-published, At Second Glance. I wrote back in 2003. I got a new cover and everything now, but when I started writing that book, I joined a writing group in New York City, and the way it worked was like probably like 8 students, and every week somebody had to submit their, you know, like their scene or their chapter, and then we all critiqued it. So that's very important, I think, as a writer. You want to be surrounded by your peers, and you want to have an instructor or something, because just having your girlfriends or your husband or whoever look at it, that's not enough, because they don't know how to critique correctly. They might just say, "Oh, this is really nice. Oh, this is fun." Like, they're not going to be able to say, "Hey, this dialogue needs to be tightened up a little bit." Oh, so what's the point of this scene? Like, they're not going to be able to really analyze why are you just talking. Because sometimes I would just write stuff just because it's funny. Oh, I wanted to throw that in there. My teacher would be like, "Well, what does this have to do with the story? How is this moving the story along?" Oh, I just thought it was a funny joke. No, take it out. So you want somebody that can actually crack the whip on you, you know what I mean? And having a group of peers is phenomenal. And nowadays we have groups online. Like, I actually have a group on Facebook called what is it called? Writers Lab. Own Your Powers Writers Lab. So in there, writers can, you know, post, they can get their stuff critiqued. We can I share, you know, videos, I share tips, you know, that kind of thing. It just helps people keep encouraged, because it's a very lonely hobby if you don't become a real author, because you'll just be, you know, by yourself a lot, you know.
So Simone, what is the next book that you're looking at writing? I mean, obviously you're now in the promotion stage now, but what is the next vision? Is it another one? Is it going to become a trilogy?
No, it's I mean, people are after they read Whispers from the Past, I have people already saying, "Well, what's next? Is that the next book?" So unfortunately, it's not the next book, but I can always add it later. The next book I'm writing is called 1544. It's actually my first short movie as well. We're doing in February. And 1544 is about, I don't know if you guys remember Fatal Attraction. Remember the movie Fatal Attraction? Okay, so it's like the same movie, but instead of a lovers, it'll be a father and a daughter. So 1544 is the guy his name is Ty Carter, and he was a sperm donor back in college, in his college years. His daughter, who was created by his sperm, comes back looking for him and to create a bond with him. However, she has a little bit of a sinister side to her, so we get to learn about that. And the tagline is, "Daddy's little girl isn't all that she's cracked up to be." And what's cool about all my books, and this book in particular, is that they have supernatural power. So even though they never grew up together, you know, he has his genes. So she has the power of telepathy. However, some people don't use their powers for good. And I'll leave it at that. You gotta wait till the movie comes out.
Maybe she's watching you right now.
That was like,
you know,
classic top of the roller coaster. You left out everyone on top of the roller coaster. That was classic. I love
all right,
that.
Anthony, explain the top of the roller coaster.
The top of the roller coaster is like when, you know, you want to leave them when they're hot, right? If she had that link right now, people would be buying that book. Should be a bestseller before the show's over. Right.
Well, I will be having a link for a GoFundMe soon, so watch out for that.
There you go. I was just going to say that in regards to the film. do you have that available by any chance in regards to?
We literally just filmed the video yesterday, so
Okay.
I'll be putting it up tomorrow.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we're actually raising money for the film. I have an amazing team, so I'm really excited about that because I mean, technically, I used to be called the Barter Queen because I had a barter network. So I was able to, when I first moved here, to create a team of other writers, filmmakers, and we all collaborate and worked on each other's films. So I'm able to keep the cost low because a lot of us are using our connections and helping each other. So since I've moved here, I've been assistant director on 2 films already. And never in a million years would I thought I've been doing this, but because everybody's, taking me under their wing and showing me the way, I'm actually learning a lot. And I'm editing scripts, things that I would never used to do before. Like one of my friends, he's a writer. He's helping me on a lot of things and I'm editing his scripts. So, it's kind of cool, like how we're collaborating. But networking and collaboration is the key to success for everybody.
Absolutely. It is, isn't it? Networking and collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
Anthony, we know a thing or two about networking and collaborating, don't we?
Yeah, maybe a little bit. Just like a teensy-weensy little bit, yeah.
I just keep laying you up all night long, man. I'm just like giving you these passes. Anthony,
he's just sitting back. I don't know. I've never seen it before.
Alicia's laughing. She's over here feeding us. She's like, "There's your layup. There's your layup."
I told myself that I'm gonna let Simone talk. Like I'm gonna like mute myself. I'm gonna let her do her thing. I'm gonna chime in every here and there. So you gotta see when we get together, like at Starbucks, or we went out to eat the other day. This poor girl, she's like, I gotta go home 25 minutes ago.
I had to put a timer on for him, Michael. A timer.
She really did.
Like, Anthony, I only got this much time left. He's like, no, but wait, one more thing. And then when I start talking, it's bad too. Both of us, we need a whiteboard to like organize the thought process.
You guys get on the call and you're like, okay, alphabetically, what are we going to cover here? 10 minutes.
She literally sets an itinerary. She sets an itinerary.
It didn't work. You never
it don't work at all. But yeah.
Well, you know what, Simone, I have to agree. I think networking and collaborating is the future of business. I think that there's a lot of people that are going online, and I think that's well and important. And I think that every business needs to have their marketing plan and a launch strategy and a real back end. But I think where the biggest change is going to be made here in business is grounded relationships. And collaborations, because it requires more energy and more effort as we move forward. You guys, I think Simone, you're maybe getting some feedback from me, or I don't know. I think Tony's muted. I don't know if we have an extra thing there. But what I was sharing is that collaborations, and so and Simone, I think that you're going to be on. Are you going to be on this Wednesday on our networking event? Is that happening? Is it this week? Next Wednesday?
I think so. I'll double check. Yeah.
This is the first I'm hearing of it, Anthony. Anthony's like,
no, he told me about it, but I didn't have to double check my schedule, so I got to make sure.
You guys talked about everything except for
Pretty much.
That was like line item 47 on it. No. So we have a networking event that we host every Wednesday, and we call it Authentic Communication. And one of the things that's really interesting about it is like when it comes to networking and building those relationships and authentic communication, it is facilitated through those times. If you look at like the professional relationships, I think we often have this illusion of like, oh, and then Prince Charming showed up with the perfect business model, and it doesn't happen that way. There's authentic communication, there's breakdowns, there's collaborations, there's idea bouncing. And as long as everybody comes together with that context to co-elevate, it's a win-win environment. And so I love that you shared that, because you could just even in the sharing of how you've created your book and what's required for people to write their next book, so much of that is in that collaborative phase.
Well, I'll give you a little tip. I wish I had it in the room, but it's on another room. The first version of Like a Fly on the Wall was about this, like half the size of this, right? I probably spent $300 in total, and I got it to bestseller. And that book got me my book deal with HarperCollins. So the reason why it only cost me $300 is I bartered the layout, I bartered the editing, I paid for the design of the cover. I pretty much planned my own book tour. I got sponsors for my book tour. So all of that because I built up my network. That's another thing that a lot of writers don't do, that they wait. They're like, oh, I'm going to sell my book, and they don't have a following. So that's why networking is important too. You need to be building up your network and connecting with people. But yeah, you don't have to spend a lot of money to do a book. A lot of people think you need to spend, and they get ripped off too. A lot of these companies out there like, hey, I'll publish a book for $5,000. And then they're crooks half the time. So
Right. And that's why we aligned ourselves with some of the best in the industry who are on the straight and narrow. You know Gary Krebs and Rick Frischman?
Yes, I do.
All right.
I met them because of Tony.
All right, cool. Well,
go ahead.
Go ahead, Anthony. I have some questions that I want to cover here, but go ahead, Anthony.
I just have to tell a real funny story with Gary. So her and Gary meet. The first time they meet, I'm walking in. Do you remember this, Simone? I'm walking in. I was using the bathroom or something. It was, Rick's event. Rick's in the back. I'm away in the back because there's cell phones and everything. I'm walking in. And so here's Gary. And we love Gary, right? Gary's like as straight as an arrow with like, his collar shirts and he's so prim and proper. And here's Simone. And I remember I was like, oh, you all met, right? Like that. And I would just let them do their thing. And I'm walking in and I'm listening. And I hear Gary say, what do you write about? And so Simone's saying her, what she writes about. And she's like, and hot, juicy sex, like, and I turn and Gary's like, it was like the funniest thing. It was so funny. Gary had 20 shades, right?
I probably didn't say hot, juicy sex, but I'm sure I said something.
It was hysterical. So anyway, I had to just tell that. That was my first interpretation of these two meeting. That we're going to do this big event. They'll be back. And she'll probably call him out on stage about it, but no, I'm kidding. But
yeah, right. This is great. I love how everyone
shades
knows
of Gary.
Behind the scenes. People are like, well, we know what's happening when they're not on stage. I wonder what they're going to talk about. I have a question over here, Simone. What do you think writers need to focus on? Passion or target audience?
Passion first. I mean, you need to enjoy what you're doing. Yeah, that's number one. I mean, at the end of the day, and that unfortunately, I get what they're saying because sometimes it's hard to classify me because like they see a Black person and they say, oh, it's a Black book, or they just hear there's sex in it. Oh, it's a romance book. No, my books have everybody from Italian, Russian, Jewish, Black. Everybody's in my book, right? And also the categorization is hard because sometimes I write about, some of my books, they all have a mixture of comedy, fiction, sorry, not fiction, obviously all fiction, supernatural, there might be something mystery, suspense, and there's also like erotic scenes. So it's hard to put me in a box, you know what I mean? So, but if I was to think about only my target market, I probably would never finish writing a book. I just write what, I'm passionate about and what I enjoy like writing about, you know what I mean?
So,
did I answer the question?
Yeah, sure. Now, in your opinion, at what point? So you're sitting there and you write the book and you package it. Now, what has your journey been about getting that book out as an entrepreneur, as a professional? Well, what does that look like for you?
One thing I would tell people is that being published by a major is the same thing as self-publishing. It's the same work. Some people think, oh, I get a major publishing and then I'm going to be, I'm going to have me on the red carpet. No, it doesn't work like that. You still, 9 times out of 10, you're going to get your deal because of your marketing experience or because you have a following, and because you know how to make people, attract people to whatever you're selling. So for instance, when I was self-published, like I said, I did my own book tour. I'm still doing my own book tour. They don't pay for my book tour. One of the things that did help when I was with HarperCollins, for instance, they had a publicist. So I would pretty much say, hey, this is the bookstore I want to be at. And then my publicist would call, so it makes me look a little bit fancier. So that's the only thing I can really say. Say that again?
I said you're bougie.
Yeah, it takes you up a notch. But what I will say is that you definitely need to know marketing. You definitely need to realize this is a business. This is not something you just do on the weekend. You're gonna have to, connect with book clubs, magazines. You're gonna have to start booking your own radio shows, podcasts, whatever. You have to get people to write reviews. One of the things that I did that really helps is contests. So, for instance, before my book came out, right before it came out, I did a contest to become a bestseller on Amazon. And that's a strategy I've used for 3 books in a row, and it worked every time. So I usually do like I say, hey, on from this day to this day, buy my book, write a review, and your review will be thrown in the pot like a raffle ticket. And then I'm gonna give away something, and we announce the winner on Facebook. I always make it a big deal. Like I have one of my friends, be Vanna White, She's gonna pull out the names out of the hat. We have the winners, yeah, you know, and it works every time. So that's one of the things I think, like contests and giveaways, like just being really active. If you have no following on social media, I'm not to say you can't still be a bestseller, but you definitely want to be interacting with your fans, so to speak, you know?
Absolutely. And for those of you guys that are watching this right now, we have a rock star lineup. Gary and Rick have put together phenomenal people in the business world talking about how to launch your business, how to identify things like your testimonials. We've got panels, Simone. We've got all kinds of incredible people. So if you've got questions on how to launch a book, all the way from whether you want to self-publish or you want to go with one of those big five, we're going to be able to answer all your questions this coming January 16th and 17th. And Simone is going to be speaking there. She's one of our speakers. So you guys have to come out there and visit and check it out. We've got 3 different masterminds. We've got a visionary mastermind, which is visionaries. We've got, I mean, Anthony, you want to share a little bit about the visionary mastermind?
Yeah, I'm getting excited. So, you know, we've just been on the phone with like everyone, right? Everyone here recently. And so we have you know, the presidents of companies, the former president of Verizon. We have the president of the Tesla Foundation, right? Gentleman that also built the technology that became Realtor.com. So you're going to talk about visionaries and the wisest of the wise in business, you know, leaders that lead companies that are absolutely gigantic. You know, so you basically, you take people like that, then you take a gentleman who's looking like he's going to win the presidential election of a country, the country of Haiti, and he wants to take Haiti to the next level. He's just a beautiful human being, a beautiful soul, you know, and it has a book about optimism, which Gary, you know, wrote with him. And you have people that have literally taken, you know, literally vision as we know it. When I say vision, I mean eyeball vision, right? And literally redefined what people are able to do and see, got booed off stage, and 4 years later, you know, here they are, their technology for the eyes is being used worldwide. You want to talk about grit and perseverance, right? So we have Dr. Boxer on, and he's absolutely phenomenal. Montel Williams backs him and did his forward for his book. We have Greg Reed. Greg Reed has over 100 books out. Greg Reed, you ever hear of the Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich? It's the best-selling, I think, secular book of in personal growth space of all time. Napoleon Hill Foundation, Greg Reed will be speaking, will be keynoting. We have legends.
But what we didn't buy was a faster internet. But no, I'm just kidding.
It's frozen. Oh,
it's frozen.
I got so excited. I stole energy. The internet went out.
Oh no!
I'm gonna do that. You're getting me excited. I was trying to stay calm.
Yeah.
No, not possible.
You got me doing the Ty Lopez thing, walking around minus the Lamborghinis here, right? So, you know, in all seriousness, you have so many, you know, best-selling authors that are going to be here. You have TED Talk speakers, right? You have a gentleman that not only has TED Talks, the whole deal, but Dr. Patrick Porter. He invented, you know, BrainTap. BrainTap is 100 and I think 11 plus franchises worldwide. Some of the newest technology about the brain. You talk about giving the edge to, you know, not just health, but entrepreneurs, right? That mindset, that sharpness. Myself, with my brain healing, you know, I'm looking into that with him. You know, we have Dr. Port, who won Innovator of the Year 2018, 2019. And how's this all tying together is that every human being that's here is going to give action steps, at least 3, at the end of their talk that's going to help people to propel, right? And just model, right? A leader knows the way, goes the way, shows the way, the old John Maxwell quote. And at the end of the day, you know, Simone, you remember I spoke about this at Rick Frischman's event when I stood up for a few minutes. You know, like knowledge is not power, okay? Like knowledge has to be accompanied with action, right? Applied knowledge is power as long as it's accurate. And you're literally not going to get people that have talked it, right? You're going to get people that have walked it. Simone literally, you know, has become one of these authors that has, you know, broken into the big 5. She has used resourcefulness, like Tony Robbins says, right? The best resources is resourcefulness for $300. Yeah. I know people. We know someone who spent $300,000 on their book to get out. She spent $300 and she's a bestseller with one of the top 5 publishers in the entire world, right? And she's working on some cool film projects and other things as well too. Simone's on her way. She's already there, but she's, you know, leveling up even more.
Thank you.
That's the beauty. You directly from these people. No, we love you, girl. We love you, Simone. You know, I don't just say it. I don't just do it for a cup of coffee at Starbucks. Really, truly love you. You know, it's exciting, and I can just go on and on and on. We have 42 right now speakers that have all accomplished incredible things in their space. and they're literally here on the weekend before Blue Monday, where 97% of the world on the third Monday in January quit. And I hate that word quit, the resolution, right? And number one, it's always to make more money. Number two, it's always to lose weight, right? And they just got their first credit card bill in from Christmas, right? And the average American's in debt till July. So they throw that out the window, right? Until next year, right? And then they stepped on a scale. And if they actually went to the gym, they gain pounds, right? And the pounds, as we know, are the muscle weighs more than fat. That's why they gain pounds. That's why the old saying is like January, the gyms are full. February, the gyms are empty. And if they then go to the gym, they gain pounds from something else called pound cake, right? From like Christmas. So they throw it out. They just throw out that resolution. And here we are doing this event very strategically for people to get past where 97% of the world stops the resolution is where we want everyone to begin. So I'm excited. I keep talking on the door back to you guys. You got me excited now. I told you, Simone.
Yep, caught it, Anthony. No, you know, and I think what it is Simone, and I think you would agree that so many people out there have this desire to help people, you know, whether it's writing a book or you know, you have this idea, you have this seed, and that seed deserves to be shared. And the way that it gets shared is like what you've done is you've created this book that you can now go in the world and inspire other people to tap into their intuition, or you created a course, you know, and then you coach people. And so like, and you create a business.
I do have a actual course for authors called the Superstar Author Bootcamp. So that is,
there you go.
Yeah. But I don't help you write the book. The book has to either be written or ready, and I help you market it. And I've gotten 3 authors already to, was it 3? Yeah, 3 authors to bestseller already. Children authors.
That's beautiful. Yeah. That's beautiful.
That's beautiful. And I that's a hard category to be a bestseller in.
Yeah.
Children's?
I said that's a hard category. Yeah, children's a hard category to be a bestseller in. So the fact that you did that,
secrets, baby. You got to know the secrets. That's why they pay me the big bucks.
True story. True story.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Mike. I cut you off, my brother. I'm so sorry.
No, well, I just, you know, I think that like what happens is you see is that there's this tendency to say, look out there and see somebody who's successful like Simone or, you know, or other people and say, well, that's not for me, you know, or just to write it off like yourself. And I think that everybody out there has a book in them. Everybody out there has an inspirational idea, a thought leadership seed, and you owe it to yourself to take that next step. And I want to invite everybody that's watching this right now to join us at the Journey to Success Summit that we're hosting, because we guarantee that it's going to transform your life, that we have people like Simone who are out there making it happen at that high level. And it's just really, really, really incredible, you know? So Simone, what are you planning on sharing at the Journey to Success Summit?
Well, I don't know yet, but I have plenty to talk about. So I can talk about anything from contests, marketing strategies. I think that's a big thing. Book tour, how to get your book tour paid for without not your money.
Yeah.
Money. I got plenty of topics related to authors. Yeah, and I think that's something that's not talked about a lot because, especially now with COVID, I mean, most people aren't touring, but you can still do a lot of virtual things, you know. And again, get people to pay you.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
So, a lot of different strategies I can share.
So we're going to be sprinkling them in, and actually right now we're still in the finalizing the schedule process. So for those of you guys that are watching, we do have an amazing event. Simone, can you share your link? Can you grab your link and drop your link to your book in the chat here for people to find it on Amazon? And then Anthony, you know what I'm going to do? So you guys that are watching this, I'm going to share the link to the to our event here, the Journey to Success Summit, because we've littered it with incredible people. What I'm going to do is I'm going to share that a little bit. And
Mike,
yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, Felicia, our girls in the back too. I know we're wrapping up here, but Felicia could probably ask the last question. You know, and you know what that last question is. But go ahead.
It's Felicia. Are we pulling Felicia on out here?
Pull her in.
Should we pull Felicia? Felicia, are you ready for me to pull you out?
Fabulous Felicia.
Oh, there she is. What's up, Felicia?
What's up, girl? Woo, look at the hair.
Is my hair looking crazy? Because I was really like doing a lot today.
You and Simone's hair is on point. My hair is like cray. Come on.
So what?
Hi, Felicia.
So
nice to meet you. Me too.
Oh, I love it. So for those of you guys that are watching, we have really truly woven together a community of friends and family, friends, family, contributors, co-creators and contributors. And so that's why you see people like Felicia just jumping in here, because we're all making things happen in the back end to be able to support you and your vision and getting it out into the world. So what I'm going to do is I want to share this link here. Boom. There's the link. If you check it out. It is a link to just some of the incredible speakers that are going to be there. Felicia is going to be there speaking about generating a business plan. There's nobody that's better at really helping somebody identify that unique narrative and get it in position to get funded. We'll have Kedma, who will talk about target funding. We've got panels, influencer panels, the do's and don'ts of influence. We've got marketing. We've got launching your book. We've got people like the founder of the Tesla Foundation, like Anthony just heard. We've really got an amazing array of people, because you've got a seed, you've got a thought seed. And that thought seed, if you package it up, it's going to transform the world. It's going to change the world, whether you're launching a book or a brand or a course or a coaching practice or whatever that may look like for you. We want to be able to hear what you're doing. So this is your event, and I just shared the link there. Didn't share to all.
Even more. Yeah, but Michael, I mean, you're missing the really juicy part.
Oh, what's the juicy part? Share.
Let the girls start talking about the juicy stuff. Go ahead.
The reason why people are going to show up here is not just because we're going to have Simone in the house, but Simone is going to give them some real important juice. That means when you have your idea, it's ideation, but also there's some steps, and she has that history and experience of what to do, what not to do, on how to promote your book. But I love, Simone, that you shared a couple of things. Don't be afraid of networking and acting as if, calling people up and, letting them know, no, I want to work with, knowing whom you want to work with. You stated that. And I'm like, I don't know a lot of people that really think about that. And then you show up as, I am the person that you need. So that was pretty remarkable. And I'm pretty sure that that kind of insight would allow people to be a little bit more courageous when they're working out, this plan for what they need to do. And I know that with books, it's different. I haven't worked with authors. I usually refer them because that's not my space or my area of expertise. I'll send them to you, girl. I'll send them to you because I know that those relationships are important. Agents are important, publishing, distributorship, where to go so that you can get seen. It looks a little different. And I think that because you have that insight and that expertise and you're doing it, you will allow people to understand what they need to do to show up in that space to have success, right? So I love it. And I love it from both sides. Doing it yourself, independently, writing your book, self-published, and then doing it with an agency. And so you'll be able to give that valuable insight from both sides, right?
Yes, definitely.
Awesome. And then, of course, how to get results, right? What is there a real plan or strategy of getting onto a bestseller list? And, what does that look like? Is it in the content? Is it in the marketing? Is it in the presentation? Is it in the genre?
A lot of it is in the people, the fans, because you want to get them to create the hype for you. So whenever I started doing events, people would say, "That's your book? I see that thing everywhere." Because every time somebody gets the book, I'm like, "Hey, take a selfie and hashtag my book." So that way it's like they'll take it with them on vacation, like, but again, pre-COVID. But they'll be like, hashtag Cuba, hashtag Jamaica, and my book will be like looking over the beautiful waters, So people go, "Wow, that book is everywhere," So you create the illusion, and it's a real thing. And eventually, everybody wants to find out what's in this book that everybody keeps talking about. You know what I mean?
I love that.
People are nosy.
Yes, and it's great. It's a great market strategy that you don't have to pay for. Like you pay it one time, and it's like the gift that keeps giving. Because when people see that book, and then they could go, okay, now they've seen the book, and now the book gets to be displayed in all of these places. Did you create a hashtag for that too? Like a hashtag marketing? See? That's
hashtag
it. And then people just kind of show up with the book, like you said, and more people are talking about it. And then engaging around that community of the hashtag would allow them to promote it organically.
It really works. I've gotten clients from my hashtag. So somebody might have hashtagged the book, and then I see one girl she even bought the book. She got it out of the library, and she hashtagged the book, and then my book has an intuitive in it. So she says, "Do you know any intuitives like Jacques?" And I was like, me. And she ended up becoming a client. I was in Florida, then I moved here to Atlanta. She actually came to and got Reiki. I do Reiki as well, and so now she's one of my students. She took my class. So it just goes to show like how hashtag can have many life forms.
I love that. And that's the second thing. You know, for me, like sometimes just think about repurposing, but you were like, okay, I'm an author, I write a book, but I can also expound on that, you know, offering courses. And are they online courses? Were they in-person courses?
They're both. They're more online now, obviously, but because of I'm doing my book tour, I have actually a book signing, and then I have a class depending on the weekend, because I have a lot of clients I've never met before. So I'm trying to do small groups of classes. But I just did Atlanta, Florida. Next month is Dallas, and February is LA.
Awesome. Congratulations. That's beautiful. So that gives a vision for authors who are thinking like, I only need to do it this way, right? Being, write the book, but you're saying it's more than just writing the book. It's about
the business,
right? The business. And that's what we want. We want people to realize that it is a business. So,
well, I tell people too that the book is a brochure, that you make a lot more money off of other things. Exactly. The book opens the door to expressing who you are, and people want more of you. So speaking engagements, courses. So I always tell my authors to have something else to sell, not just the book.
So it's an asset. It's one of your assets that you get.
The book is the bridge to your brand. And I think that's so important. And for all of you guys that are listening here, Simone, we haven't, Anthony's, all of our speakers are going to tie things up in actions that you can take. If you guys, you're listening here, we're tying it up in actions that you could take, not tomorrow, but today, for you to get started and gain that clarity. Simone's going to be sharing secrets. I mean, just some of the stuff that you shared, Simone, like you're talking about hashtag Costa Rica. I mean, those are secrets, trade secrets. And that's the goal of a mastermind. A mastermind is for you to share secrets, that industry secrets, so that you could further the development. It's about that collective. So I'm really grateful to have you there, Simone. I'm super excited to listen to what you're sharing. Yeah, absolutely. I shared this link here. You guys that love Simone, we dropped this link here. Just put in, you can save 50% on the tickets if you put in Simone Kelly, no space today, and say get yourself. And I think we're even talking about doing some other special events. I think that if you register between now and then, you can have we have a very something special for you if you're registering now. It's too big for me to commit right now. But we definitely have some really incredible goodies for you guys that are in store. Felicia's like, I'm teasing them. You're teasing them, but I'm not telling anybody. I'm not telling anybody yet.
Can you also put the link from my autograph books? I don't know.
Yes, I think I dropped it in here. Let me see here. Wait.
Whispers from the Past.
No, that's the link to buy the book on Amazon. But I also have all of my books on my website. You can purchase.
There we go. I just dropped that.
Thank you.
Yeah, there we are.
So we have this closing out question that we always ask guests. And, it's really about how we, consider life, experience, choices, passions, desires, what we're doing in our space. So what does living true mean to you, Miss Simone?
Living true. Really following your passion and stepping into your calling. And I love when people tell me that, girl, you're knee deep in your calling. Because what I do is fun. Like, I don't even feel like I'm working. I almost laugh at like, people pay me to do this. So that's why I feel like this is really, I'm living true to who I am, doing what I love. And thank you for having me, guys. You guys, look at everybody's faces are like, Hallmark special.
It is. I'm gonna turn on Hallmark when we're done here. Hallmark.
Do what you love, and it's like fun. It's not work.
Yeah. And then
that's awesome.
Yeah, I just gotta say this. So I'm thinking this. Kedma was on a week or 2 weeks ago. You were just on. If people just literally out of the other 40 speakers, if they just heard Simone and Kedma, Kedma getting people money that's there from the government, subsidized to help people get to where they want to be that they don't even know is there. And Simone using resources or being resourceful, excuse me, to use resources to go on book tours at $300 for that book. Again, that's crazy. That's crazy. And she's a best-selling author. Like these secrets. I'm excited. Go ahead.
And I want to leave you with one little line. This is actually a workshop that I taught a part of one of my Own Your Power retreats. And it was, there's a gold mine in your cell phone. So remember that. Utilize their contacts. A lot of us don't do that. We don't realize who we know. And we all know somebody that knows somebody. So, you know.
That's right.
I met this dude at Starbucks, for Christ's sake.
Connect
the dots.
Yeah.
You never know.
And it's about
strangers, right?
Sponsorship, right? So it's about what people say about you when you're not in the room.
Yeah.
So, you know, you make those connections, you make that impression, and then you can make that phone call like Tony does and say, hey, you know, I would love it if you could. And you go, that's Tony. Yes. Hey, whatever you need, brother, I got you. Because you respect, you know him, you trust him. Mm-hmm. And so that's important. I love that. Thank you.
I love you guys. What we're going to do is we're going to cheer out, and here's how it goes. Simone, what you do is you cover the camera like this, and then on 3, we pull back and we say, live through. Are you ready?
All right.
Ready on 3. 1, 2, 3. Live true. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to see you next Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard.